Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. So the board back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, despite our poor run of form. We have dropped 13 points in our last 8 league games. Ed Woodward says the progress made by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. And it says here, the latest figures show that United's net debt has risen by 64.2 mil to 455.5 mil. And I said, didn't I, the board needs to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the summer transfer window. Because this year's summer transfer window is the biggest in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial career. Now, like I updated you recently, Solskjaer sent a transfer warning to Man United fans, saying that we won't be very active in the summer transfer window due to the coronavirus pandemic. Solskjaer said he's only interested in bringing in players that are a perfect fit for the club. Woodward has come out several times to show his support for Ole. Even when we was enjoying them really bad periods, he assured that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job was safe, and he did say towards the end of last year that he will back him with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. I've got to say, Solskjaer has made good signings as Manchester United manager. He's spent over £200 million so far. Spent around 260 mil. In the summer of 2019, he brought Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. In January of last year, he brought Bruno Fernandes in and Odion Ighalo in on loan. Ighalo's no longer at the club now, he left in January. And in the summer transfer window of last year, he brought Donny van de Beek in, Alex Telles, Edison Cavani, Facundo Pellistri, who's no longer here, he's out on loan, and Amad Diallo Traore. He got 4 of those players on deadline day last summer. So Ole has endured 4 transfer windows so far as permanent Man United manager. It was a disappointing January transfer window for us because we only saw one arrival, and that was Amad Diallo Traore, but Solskjaer said a few times during the January transfer window that he wasn't expecting any signings. We've been very critical of the board for a long time. The main explanations is reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been. We've also overpaid for players, and none of the managers have been backed enough since Ferguson retired. Woodward's been at the club since 2012 and the Glazers have been at the football club since 2005. Our board have obviously got a soft stance on Ole, with him being a club legend. Disregarding being a club legend, the board would be a lot more ruthless than him. And I don't think he'd be Man United manager now if he wasn't a club legend. I'm expecting us to make around 3 or 4 signings in the summer. A new centre-back, a new forward are the 2 priorities. Now, I'm just going to delve into some news on Erling Haaland. So, according to recent reports, we are leading the race for Erling Haaland. Chelsea believe they can get him. I think Liverpool have also been in for him. I heard not so long ago that up to 10 clubs were in for Erling Haaland. Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say prior to the game against Real Sociedad that he's keeping in touch with Erling Haaland. He said earlier on this season that he's following Erling Haaland's progress. Now, back in December 2019, Solskjaer and Woodward went to Norway to meet up with Erling Haaland to negotiate a possible move to Man United. But it would be really, really good to see Solskjaer reunite with the player. Solskjaer knows him very, very well because Ollie was the one that gave him his debut at just the age of 16 at Mulder. His agent Minio Raiola said the other week that there's only 4 Premier League clubs that can afford Haaland. If Dortmund are to sell him in the summer, they'll probably demand in the excess of £100 million. Next year, he is available for £68 million. Because that's when his release clause becomes active. Since Haaland's arrival at Dortmund, he has been a revelation. He's been at Dortmund over a year. Dortmund paid just £17 million for him. He's under contract with Borussia Dortmund until 2024. I think he must have scored like 43 goals, is it, in 45 games. I just don't see us getting Erling Haaland, to be honest with you. There's better options for him than us. Now, you know the news on Jadon Sancho. Recent narrative said we are preparing a £50 million bid for Sancho. Sports Bild said the other week that we're still very interested in signing him. The Athletic said totally different. They said we paused our transfer pursuit of Sancho due to the progress of Mason Greenwood. Borussia Dortmund's CEO made an admission not so long ago, saying Sancho, Haaland and more Dortmund stars could be sold in the summer to avoid financial chaos. Earlier on this season, Jadon Sancho made an admission saying that he has endured a difficult season at Dortmund. Dortmund did reduce their asking price for Sancho earlier on this season to £88 million. So they're not £20 million off, because last summer Borussia Dortmund's valuation was £108 million. The valuation last summer was the stumbling block. We wasn't willing to meet what Dortmund were demanding. But he was our number one priority target, wasn't he, last summer, and said a few times last summer that the personal terms had been agreed, the agent fees had been agreed, and even a contract had been agreed. But we couldn't come to an agreement on an actual fee, so that was the stumbling block, like I said. Fabrizio Romano, who's a very reliable Italian journalist and is close to Man United, he's spoken a lot about the Sancho saga, and so too has Bild's Christian Falk. There's a few clubs that have been in for Sancho. Analysing the vast majority of his career at Dortmund, he's been very consistent. This is Jadon Sancho's 4th season at Dortmund. He's got a contract with Dortmund till 2023. Dortmund paid just £8 million for him from Man City back in 2017. There's been narratives coming out regarding Raphael Varane, saying that Real Madrid are prepared to sell Raphael Varane to Man United in the summer. He's valued at around £61 million. Ed Woodward was prepared to sanction a £100 million move for Varane back in 2018. The AS said the other week that talks over extending Raphael Varane's deal have not settled, so Real Madrid are considering offers. Liverpool are also interested in him, and I think PSG have been interested. I'd certainly take Raphael Varane at Man United. He's a very, very good centre-half, and I think he'd complement Harry Maguire in our back line very, very well. And he's highly experienced. He's 27 years of age. He's been at Real Madrid around 10 years now. He's made over 300 appearances. He's won 18 major honours. He's got a contract with Madrid till 2022. Real Madrid paid just 10 million euros for him from Lens back in 2011. And you know the news on Jules Koundé. You know he's been another centre-half on our agenda. I think Man United could sell 6 or maybe 7 players in the summer. Because obviously there's some players at the club that are not good enough to represent the club. And obviously we sell quite a few players in the summer, will generate money and it will help us with our rebuilding process. A lot of United fans have said we should offload Anthony Martial in the summer. I don't think Anthony Martial's good enough. He's been out of form for the vast majority of this season. He's had chances, but he hasn't converted them. Solskjaer's actually backed Martial to rediscover his form. And he said he's been impressed with Anthony Martial's work rate. Martial's recently been injured. You know, Martial was good last season and he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal era. Martial has been at the club now over 5 years. I think it was last season Solskjaer gave him that number 9 shirt. But if we sell Martial in the summer, I think we'd get around £30 million. Matic, you know, there's a chance we could offload him in the summer. You know, he's not one of our first choice midfielders, Matic, but he still gets his chances. I've always had my strong reservations about Nemanja Matic because he's always been a slow player. And he's ageing up. But he's had some good games. I thought he did very, very well against Crystal Palace recently. Had a very, very good chance. Produced a good save from the Palace goalkeeper. Matic has been at the club now almost 4 years. We got Matic in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Phil Jones, I want him to leave this year. I'm surprised he didn't leave in January, but Solskjaer came out and said that Phil Jones is going to be given a second chance. Jones doesn't get in our team and he's been out of injury for over a year. Jones is only the outfield player that's still here from the Sir Alex Ferguson era. This is Jones' 10th season at Man United, so he has been a long servant. A lot of United fans are saying that we need to offload Victor Lindelof. Lindelof is very, very poor, and him and Maguire don't complement each other in our back line. Like I've said to you, I certainly prefer Eric Bailly ahead of Victor Lindelof. Lindelof's had some good games, but he's also had a lot of bad games. You know, we got Lindelof in a deal worth £31 million from Benfica back in 2017. Solskjaer said a few weeks ago, didn't he, that he's prepared to sell either De Gea or Dean Henderson in the summer. You know, Solskjaer, like I said, has been facing a goalkeeping dilemma. I think we need to offload De Gea in the summer. You know, if we sell De Gea in the summer, we'd get from between 50 to £60 million for him. De Gea is obviously our number 1. This is De Gea's 10th season at Manchester United, so he has been a long servant. He's made over 500 appearances for the club in all competitions. In the last couple of years, De Gea has made calamitous mistakes, so reflecting on that, he's become a liability. But a few years ago, he was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world. Said the other week we was looking at Donnarumma from AC Milan as a possible replacement for De Gea. Recent reports, by the way, have said that De Gea could be out for a month. That's due to personal reasons. Solskjaer's actually come out and said that De Gea will be back very, very soon. Obviously, De Gea has become a father because his wife has just given birth. So, yeah, Dean Henderson is set for a run of games. I think Dean Henderson should be our number one anyway because he's now reliable enough to become our number one. He's got that experience behind him, and Henderson has done well in the games he's played in this season. There was narratives coming out the other week saying that Dean Henderson threatened to quit Man United if he's not assured the number one. And he admitted, and Solskjaer, early on this season admitted that it's becoming more and more difficult to leave Dean Henderson out of the side. Said the other week we revealed our asking price for Henderson. It's £40 million. So there you go. These good players at Man United, and I've got to say these players that have really, really improved. Like I said, Dean Henderson's done well in the games he's played in this season. Yeah, De Gea's had some good games. Luke Shaw, I've got to say Luke Shaw is our player of the season. Luke Shaw's been getting forward really, really well. He's been creating good chances for his teammates. His crossing's improved. Defensively, he's been good. And Luke Shaw still remains our first choice left back despite the arrival of Alex Telles last summer. Luke Shaw's had a good career at Man United apart from his injuries. Shaw has been at the club now for over 6 years. Eric Bay, I've been very, very impressed in the games he's played in this season. He's made good interceptions, showed the ability to play out from the back. He's been effective in the air, and him and Harry Maguire do complement each other really, really well in our back line. My only element of concern about Bay is too injury prone, so in that aspect he is a liability. And Wan-Bissaka, he's had some good games this season where he's actually improved and he's got forward more. He's put good crosses into the box, and defensively he's been superb. This is Wan-Bissaka's second full season at Man United. Fred, he's had some bad games this season, but he's also had good games. I think Fred's improved. When Fred plays well, he can get forward well. His passing can be good, and he can break up play. Fred has been at the club now a few years. Scott McTominay, he's enjoyed some very, very good games this season. His best game by far was the 6-2 win against Leeds because he scored twice in that game and he also got an assist. McTominay is not at that level as we want him to be at as yet, but I think he can emulate to that level. He's still young, he's got a lot of development in him. Just after the first lockdown, McTominay signed a 5-year contract with Man United, so he committed his future with the club. Paul Pogba, before he got this thigh injury, we was getting the best out of him. And Paul Pogba is a big miss because he's now out with a thigh injury. The last game he did play was a 3-3 draw with Everton. And we do lack quality in that midfield without Paul Pogba. Solskjaer recently set a new Paul Pogba return date. Ole is hopeful that Paul Pogba will return before the March international break. Earlier on this season, Pogba had an ankle injury and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. Paul Pogba, as you all know, is open to staying at Manchester United after making a transfer U-turn, and he's willing to discuss a new contract. Earlier on this season, we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with Man United until June 2022. And earlier on this season, Solskjaer suggested that Paul Pogba, could sign a new contract, because Solskjaer said that Paul Pogba is happy at the club. He has had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid. PSG have been in for him. His former club Juventus have been in for him. And apparently we revealed our asking price the other week, and it's £100 million. Mini Oriola said earlier on this season that he's got no intentions of destabilising his client's season at Man United, and he said, didn't he, as well, that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence, because Mini Oriola doesn't have a good relationship with Man United, and he's been criticised a lot of times, and he made the announcement back in December regarding Paul Pogba, and Solskjaer was furious with Mini Oriola's announcement because it was just before the game against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. Pogba's our most expensive signing at the moment, because we paid £89 million for him, and this is his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. Donny van de Beek, he's a very, very good player, but he seldom plays. Most of Donny van de Beek's appearances have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league this season. I think Donny van de Beek, though, has recently been out with injury. We got Donny van de Beek in a deal worth £40 million. And he's got a contract with the club until 2025. Bruno Fernandes now, like I said, he's our best player and he's the best signing we've made since Ferguson. He's made a difference in the team, but Fernandes needs a rest at some point because he has been out of form recently. He was poor against Crystal Palace. He was also poor against Chelsea. Recently his final ball's been poor. He's been dispossessed a few times and has created very little. And that seldom happens when it comes to Fernandes. In most of his games at Man United, he has been very, very consistent. By the way, Solskjaer's ready to ban him from international duty. Fernandes did say on his 12-month anniversary that he's planning on spending many years at Man United. And he's won Player of the Month now quite a few times, reflecting on his good performances. By the way, I think we're willing to double Bruno Fernandes' wages to £200,000 a week. Mason Greenwood, he's a very good player. Greenwood's got a long-term future at the club. He's got a lot of development in him. He's done well recently, Greenwood, despite scoring. Not so long ago, he signed a new 4-year contract. Marcus Rashford's a good player, but he's also enjoyed his bad games. We've just got to keep Marcus Rashford out on the left, out wide, because that's where he's more effective. Edison Cavani, he's made a fantastic impact since he's come in. He weren't good against Palace recently, Cavani, but he's just come back from injury, so you've got to let him off. He was out with a muscle injury. Cavani's set to stay at Man United, I think, beyond this season, because he said he wants to stay. And Solskjaer said earlier on this season that Cavani is set for contract extension talks. So yeah, like I said, we've got good players and we've got players that are improving. So yeah. So anyway, revert back to what I said earlier on in the video, regarding the ball back in Solskjaer and that. So I think now a new Ole Gunnar Solskjaer contract is incoming. We'll probably give him a new contract at the end of the season. The last time I read up about it, he said that Solskjaer's future is in doubt because he admitted that nobody has spoke to him over a new contract. He said we'll wait until the end of the season to begin contract talks with Ole. He says we could offer him a new 2-year deal. Ole's into the final 18 months of his current contract. Does he deserve a new contract? You know, even if he signs a new contract, doesn't mean he's going to see it out. I think Ole does deserve at least until May. I think he'll probably get another season at the club. There again, he may not see all of next season now. It depends on how things go. Ole's got to exceed his expectations at Manchester United, and I've already said he's got to win a trophy to avoid the sack, because he's not yet won a trophy as Man United manager, and he's been at the club over 2 years, and we haven't won a trophy since 2017, and a club of our stature need to be winning trophies. The FA Cup and the Europa League is a chance of a trophy for us. Obviously, we know we're not going to win the Premier League. I've totally disregarded that. I disregarded that a while ago. Obviously, you know, we're sitting second. We're 14 points behind Manchester City. Solskjaer hasn't spoken about the title race recently, but he said after Newcastle and West Brom that we are still in the title race. That's just him playing mind games. Top 4 is our aim. And it's not guaranteed that we're going to get top 4. I hope we can get top 4, because obviously we want qualification for the Champions League. And when you've got Champions League football to offer, you can attract players to the highest level. Solskjaer needs to show tactical flexibility persistently. Yeah, in some games he showed it, but you know, there's been too many games where he's been tactically naive, especially in the big games. We've been very, very poor against the top 6 sides in the Premier League this season. In the vast majority of the games against the top 6 sides, we have failed to score. And that's not good enough, it's really not. But there is a lot of United fans that are rolling out. I've heard a lot of United fans saying we did make a mistake by giving him the job. I probably say we give him it too soon, but the main explanation we give him the job permanently was reflecting on what he did in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. He won 14 games out of 19 in all competitions. But we have enjoyed very, very good periods under Ole. We've also enjoyed bad periods as well, where he's been very close to getting sacked. I said, didn't I, no, disregarding Ole being a club legend, I don't think he'd be Man United manager now. Our board have got a soft stance on him, like I mentioned earlier, with him being a club legend. But he's not the long-term future for Man United. But the question is, if we sack him, who's going to come in to replace him? As far as I'm aware, at the moment, no one is available. But we've got to credit Ole in some aspects. You know, we're second in the league. We're in the Europa League last 16. He's got us to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. Got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season. Lost 2-0 to City. Did well last season in his first full season at the club, and he's also got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended in. Solskjaer hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager. That is a concern, but reflecting now on his being with us, he's gained some managerial experience and he has learnt quite a bit on the job. Ole is our 4th permanent manager since Ferguson retired. We've sacked 3 managers since Ferguson retired, and that was David Moyes. We sacked him after 10 months. He enjoyed the shortest tenure at the club. He's the worst ever manager we've had. We sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup. And we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years, despite him winning 3 trophies in his first season. And we're not even really known as a sacking football club. Yeah, mistakes have been made since Ferguson retired. That's one of the main explanations why we haven't been so consistent. You know, we spent over £1 billion on players since Ferguson left. We've overpaid for players in recent years. And I think a lot of the players we've brought in since Ferguson retired haven't been the right calibre players for Man United. So there you go. And by the way, Juan Mata, I think he could leave in the summer. Did I forget to mention him earlier on? I think I did. Solskjaer did actually say he's not surprised that Juan Mata's been linked with a move away from the club. I heard that there's 3 Italian clubs that are interested in him. So yeah, on my next video, I'll be giving you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference ahead of the game against City. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you for today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.